I'll say it here, I'll say it again. This man has ability. He has reflexes. He has legs. He has everything, and he's white. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, he's gonna be the greatest thing to ever touch. Because you know what? He can't be hit. He got jabbed. He got everything it takes to be a future champion. I know because I did it myself and I did it twice. I say that, and I say that with
I can't stand Stevenson. Damn, man. Yo, this world so backwards, man. So backwards. They hate black people.
Racism do racism go on within the sport of boxing? Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You were saying you weren't sure if it was a racial thing. It seems like the most disrespected fighters in boxing that are undefeated are African Americans. Like Bradley, Andre Ward, Floyd Mayweather. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I do agree. I see your point, and you're right. You know, Floyd Mayweather is one of the greatest boxers in the world. Andre Ward, Tim Bradley, and there's many, many, many more, you know, that don't get the credit because they're African Americans. But they're great fighters, and nobody can beat them. In that square, there's two people. If you can beat them, well, there's nobody else in there. It's just them two. Take them out. And if they can't, there's got to be a reason why.
Dontaesboxingnation, what's going on, guys? Okay, with all those clips I just played for you, I almost don't know where to start because I got so much to unpack. But let's start with that first clip I played for you guys. That was KSI fighting against Logan Paul, the press conference, and you heard Logan Paul's trainer, Shannon Briggs, saying that he's going to be the greatest thing because he's white. KSI's reaction to hearing him say that was priceless because KSI is from the UK. And I always tell you guys, the UK is the complete opposite of America. In America, the non-black Americans, they root against their own country. In the UK fans, they're real boxing fans, not race fans like the majority are in America. In the UK, they will support you as long as you are one of their countrymen. They don't care what your color is. When KSI or Anthony Joshua fights in the UK, they're treated over there the same way Americans treat Gennady Golovkin and Manny Pacquiao over here in America. Matter of fact, I remember when Gennady Golovkin, when he fought against Kell Brook in the UK. And it was the first time I had ever seen a crowd actually boo Gennady Golovkin and cheer for his opponent because his opponent was from the UK. I've covered many Golovkin fights live, and every single time Golovkin was fighting against a black American, they would boo the American and cheer for Gennady Golovkin. The complete opposite of the UK. And actually the same thing can be said about Canada as well. You guys remember when Superman Adonis Stevenson was filling up arenas, had the whole arena cheering for him, rooting him on. John Pascal, when he was in his prime, was adored and loved the exact same way by his own country. So this is the reason why KSI is looking at Shannon Briggs with this confused look like, what the hell, did you just really say that? With all of the greatest boxers that America has produced, from Muhammad Ali to Sugar Ray Leonard, Floyd Mayweather, you're gonna say that this man is gonna be the greatest because he's white? And Shannon Briggs, he did that because that is what you call being under the spell of indoctrination, which is exactly why we often hear fighters like Gervonta Tank Davis, who's much better than Canelo Alvarez, saying he looks up to Canelo. He wants to be the Canelo of his division. But we're going to talk a little bit more about that later on in the video. But I want to first take you guys back into time, back to 1960. Did you guys know that in the 60s, the most hated man in the entire country was Muhammad Ali? Did you guys know that? Well, actually, it was a toss-up between Muhammad Ali and Martin Luther King. And somehow, they were number one over KKK members. People like George Wallace, a governor at the time, who even ran for president. He was infamously known for saying segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever. And just in case some of my Latino, Asian, and even Middle Eastern, or any person of color, any of you guys are confused with what he said, yes, he was including you guys when he said segregation. Because these racists that said that, they didn't care if you were Latino and you were light-skinned or dark-skinned. They seen you as not being white. He was nowhere near close to Muhammad Ali and Martin Luther King on that list of the most hated in the country. You heard what Shakur Stevenson said at the beginning of this video when I played that clip. And we've seen how Devin Haney has been treated and the things that people, old media in particular, says about Devin Haney. But you know what's so funny when it comes to Gervonta Tank Davis is he's looked at as a little Mike Tyson. And I think you guys may notice this. Whenever you talk to a racist boxing fan, wherever, you're talking to him in person, at work, at school, at a boxing match, you've probably noticed the pattern where some of them, they will sit there and discredit every single black boxer, use all of the typical talking points that race fans use. Oh, this guy is boring. Oh yeah, Gervonta, he knocks everyone out, but who has he fought? Oh, well, you know, Terrence Crawford is overrated, etc., 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 right? They don't like any of these current black fighters, no matter what their style is, no matter what their personality is, inside or outside the ring. They don't like any of them. But if you ever ask them, is there any black fighters that you do like? In a heartbeat, they'll say, yeah, I like Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Joe Louis, fighters that are completely irrelevant today in terms of activity. But here's where the contradiction comes in. How do you say you were a fan of Mike Tyson, but you're not a fan of a guy who fights like Mike Tyson today when it comes to Gervonta Tank Davis? How is that possible? How is it possible you claim you're a fan of Muhammad Ali's, but yet you don't like Floyd Mayweather? That's like someone not liking Lomachenko or not liking his style, but loving Willie Pep. You say Floyd is a runner, he's boring, but we all know Muhammad Ali, he actually moved in the ring way more than Floyd Mayweather did. That's why he said float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Muhammad Ali's defense was with his foot movement. Floyd Mayweather's defense is with the shoulder roll. Floyd is often standing right in front of you. No matter how big you are, no matter how strong you are, he's usually standing right in front of you, making you miss every single punch, as if he's in the Matrix. So why would these type of fans say they don't like Floyd Mayweather, but they love Muhammad Ali? They love Mike Tyson, but they don't like Gervonta Tank Davis? Before I answer the question why these type of fans even say this, let me go ahead and play this clip of what Roy Jones said about Gervonta.
Tank fight anybody, people gonna tune in to see. Why? Because Tank able to knock you out at any time, any hand. So people love that. That's what makes exciting boxing. That's Mike Tyson style. You either had the Roy Jones style of excitement or you had the Mike Tyson style of excitement. He has a little bit of both, but he mainly has the Mike Tyson style of excitement because he can touch you at any time, any hand, and you can go out.
So the result's quite obvious.
And what results are those?
Whatever he hits, he destroys.
Okay, so the reason why we often hear these race fans say their favorite fighter is Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson is because they know that those fighters are not threats to any fighters that they like today. They're not being compared to any of the fighters that they like today. And most importantly, fighters like Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali, they were beating up other black fighters. So for race fans, that's perfect because that's the lesser of two evils. And this is the reason why these race fans today would prefer to see the black fighters fight against the other black American fighters, while at the same time saying that that one non-black fighter is actually better than all of them. But they don't want to see their fighter get in a ring with those black fighters. Canelo's another prime example. When Canelo was fighting at 154 and 160, of course, The other champions like the Charlo brothers and Andre were constantly calling him out. And I just remember fans, and this is when I was covering fights, and I would even hear reporters. They would be saying, oh boy, I sure would like to see Andre versus Charlo. Even when Charlo became Canelo's mandatory, I remember hearing a reporter right after Charlo had just knocked out someone in a title eliminator bout. This reporter immediately turned around and said, man, I really want to see Charlo versus Andre. And I told him, you do know this fight was a title eliminator for Canelo's belt, right? He completely ignored the question and he said it again. Man, I want to see Charlo versus Andre, because he didn't want to see Canelo lose to either one of these guys, Charlo or Andre. You know, I want to share an interesting story with you. Speaking of Gervonta Tank Davis and Mike Tyson. First off, shout out to Gamaro. He's someone I would consider my friend. He's a fan of my channel. He's been following my channel for quite some time. And the main reason I consider him one of my friends is because he is an anti-racist. When I say anti-racist, it means you can't just say you're not a racist. You have to be anti-racist. You have to be against the racist people. And those are the only kind of people that I would call my friends. Not these closet racists that feel they can say whatever they want to say negative about the black race because they listen to hip hop and they've invited black people to barbecues or birthday parties, saying they're not racist because they have a black friend or a black in-law or their favorite fighter is Mike Tyson. These type of people ain't fooling nobody. So Gamaro is one of the people that sends me boxing news. He sends me interviews in Spanish where he translates everything for me. But he also tells me personal things, like how racist all of his coworkers are at his job, and even almost all of his family members towards black people. Gamaro is Mexican, by the way. He told me one story in particular about Gervonta Tank Davis where he was at work with a whole bunch of his coworkers that were all Mexican, and they were talking about boxing. They were talking about Gervonta Tank Davis. They were basically dissing Gervonta the same way they do in the comment section, but the difference is because there was no black person in the room, they didn't have to stay on code. They were also calling him Pinche Mayates, which is the Mexican translation of the N-word. The actual word means black beetle. But anyway, they're saying all this racist stuff about Gervonta, basically trying to discredit him completely after getting vicious knockout after vicious knockout. And after they keep calling Gervonta racial slurs, Gamaro, he says to them, he said, why don't you just admit that you're racist? He said, I would have more respect for you if you would just at least come out and say it. But they kept denying that they were racist, although they continued to call Gervonta racial slurs. Guys, how many times have you heard me tell you on this channel, people want to be racist without the title. They want to be a racist, but they don't want that title of being a racist attached to it. They want the racism they feel towards black people to be justified or considered justified. These type of racist people, they hang around with so many other racist people that they feel that's just normal to feel this way about black people. So that shouldn't be considered racist. It should only be considered racist if someone doesn't like Mexicans or if someone says that Canelo Alvarez is overrated. Now, keep in mind, Gamaro is telling me that these Mexican coworkers, they're saying these type of things about all of the black fighters, not just Gervonta. They're dissing all of the black fighters. From Shakur to Devin, it doesn't matter. Floyd Mayweather, it doesn't matter. So Gamaro asked them, because he keeps telling them to, just admit you're racist, and they won't admit it. And then he asked them, okay, which black fighter do you like? And one of the guys said Mike Tyson. So all the current black fighters today are Pinche Mayates, even the ones that fight like Mike Tyson, like Gervonta Tank Davis, but you claim you actually like Mike Tyson? Yeah, we know what time it is. Guys, I could share about 100 stories just like that one right there, even my personal experiences. But the truth is, when it comes to Mexican fans, of course, they already know about this because they're always in rooms with a whole bunch of racists saying things about black people because there's no black person in the room at the time, especially when they're at a fight party watching a fight against a black fighter. You know, Gamaro, he told me he even invited one of his black friends to a fight party. Naturally, the black guy, he was being extremely respectful, trying to be cool with everyone. But Gamaro, he said that his family, they made him feel so uncomfortable that they actually had to leave the house during the fight party. This is the reason why I'm extremely comfortable with telling you guys that the majority of Mexican fans, especially the ones in America, are extremely racist to black people, because I know when I'm saying that, the ones that are not racist, they don't get offended. The only ones that get bothered when I say that are the racist ones that I'm talking about. I told you guys this a while ago. I remember Malcolm X, he did an interview with a white reporter. And after Malcolm X finished the interview with this reporter, he started talking about Malcolm X. And he said, you know, whenever I heard Malcolm X call white people devils, he said, as crazy as it may sound to some of you guys, it never offended me. It never bothered me at all, because I never felt he was talking to me, or talking about me in particular is what he really meant. And because he personally knew a lot of those racists that Malcolm X was actually talking about. You know, I've always kept the same energy, either on YouTube or in person. And I can tell you right now, when I used to be covering fights, be at the fights in Las Vegas, even when it was a pro-Mexican crowd, maybe Canelo was fighting or someone where there was a lot of Mexican fans there. Believe it or not, I would get a couple of Mexican fans that would come up to me and they would be honest with me. They would say, hey man, you know, that stuff that you be talking about, the racist Mexicans, is true, man, because a lot of my Mexican friends, you know, they're really racist towards black people and we argue about it sometimes, etc., etc. So once again, he was telling me, I know who you're talking about, which Mexicans you're talking about when you say the majority of the Mexican fans are racist towards black people. Now, and I was going to do a complete segment on the indoctrination when it comes to these black fighters like Gervonta, because it's actually funny that Gervonta Tank Davis, you would think that he really does everything he's supposed to do to actually be loved in the sport by old media, by the quote unquote race fans who claim they love Golovkin so much. They put Golovkin's name on their Mexican flag when he was fighting, which is true stories, by the way. They loved him so much because he always gets the knockout. This is what they said, right? So not only does Gervonta Tank Davis knock out better competition than Gennady Golovkin did, but he's also a big Canelo Alvarez fan. Did you guys know that Gervonta even asked Canelo Alvarez to walk him to the ring, and Canelo Alvarez rejected the offer? Then there was that time when Gervonta wanted to wear Canelo gloves. He wanted to fight wearing Canelo gloves, and Floyd Mayweather had to talk some sense into him by saying, man, why are you going to wear this man's gloves when Canelo is actually rooting against you? Now, I could be wrong, but I believe that was the Isaac Cruz fight. And that was the fight where obviously Canelo Alvarez, he was rooting for his countrymen, which I understand Canelo is going to root for his countrymen. But what I don't understand is why would Gervonta want to wear Canelo's gloves when Canelo is rooting against him? Now, Gervonta does all of this praising Canelo Alvarez. And then when he shows up at a fight where the crowd is predominantly Mexican, soon as they show him on camera, what do the Canelo Alvarez fans, the Mexican fans do? They all boo him. So you know what that means, right? That means every black person that goes on the internet and goes out of his way saying, hey, I'm a Canelo Alvarez fan, and, you know, he follows the narrative of the racist Mexicans that don't like black people. This type of black person is going out of his way to get Canelo Alvarez fans and the Mexican fans acceptance. And those same fans just made it very clear. They don't care if you're a Canelo Alvarez fan. They don't care if you agree with every single thing they say about Canelo Alvarez. Them booing Gervonta Tank Davis proves that they still feel the same way about a black person, regardless if you're telling the whole truth like myself or you're trying to cater to them. You're trying to praise him, like Gervonta did, like Shakur did, and even Devin Haney did. About a year ago, Devin was along with Shakur and Gervonta. They were all praising Canelo Alvarez like he had this type of Michael Jordan talent that they didn't have. And then soon as Devin Haney shows up in the crowd, just like Gervonta Tank Davis, a pro-Mexican crowd, soon as they show him on camera, he gets showered with boos. Believe it or not, even these racist fans will respect you more if you stick to your guns and speak the whole truth like I do. Be unapologetic. Be firm with the truth. Because if they're going to boo you, they might as well be doing it while you're speaking the truth. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Indoctrination Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to Indoctrination.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.